Good night. Welcome to another episode of Pursuit. We're continuing on. We are continuing on our conversation with mental health this month. It is now May, right? By the time this episode airs, I think so. I'm pretty sure. But before we get into that, we're gonna do a quick BuzzFeed quiz. This one is titled, "Do you actually like the things everyone hates?" I am a very picky eater, so a lot of these things look like food, but we'll see. We'll see what it says. First one is honeydew. What are our thoughts on honeydew?
I like it. I don't know. I didn't realize people hate honeydew.
Yeah.
Is that a thing? People hate on honeydew?
It's a hit or miss.
I feel like if you don't
Why,
catch
Ash?
it at
Why
the
do you have to
right
be like
time.
that?
Because like sometimes like it's like who like goes for honeydew and cantaloupe. It's just like
Cantaloupe is so good.
Sometimes it could be sweet. It could be good
Yeah.
if it's like sweet, but then like sometimes you get it and it's just average.
Yeah, I wouldn't go to the supermarket and be like, "Oh, I'm going just for this honeydew."
Yeah. Honeydew flavored things are really good.
There are these from H Mart, right?
Yeah, the Malona.
The Malona bars,
Oh my
so good.
And the Milkita. They're so
Oh,
good.
so good. Honestly though, some Sprite and you just let it melt in there.
No way. I gotta try
So good. I love H Mart. Okay, honeydew. I put actually is great, and that was the more popular one. So I don't know who they're
Putting
saying
that too?
hates honeydew.
It's probably one of the two quiet ones in the back.
Comic Sans font. I used to,
Such a random thing.
but a lot of people like are really triggered by it.
Why?
I don't know. I used to love it as a kid.
It's
I
great.
mean, I wouldn't use it like past middle school, but in middle
I was
school,
only.
it was fine.
I only stopped using because I was told like you couldn't. But
It's not like professional or whatever.
yeah,
What do you think about Comic Sans?
I don't really care about it. It's not so bad.
It's not so bad. Yeah, that's what I put. Voicemails. I hate leaving voicemails. I hate them.
Oh yeah, but I like listening to them.
I think it because like for work, right? I have to make a lot of calls, so I hate having to leave a voicemail. So I kind of like I've created like a script, depending on the type of messages that I need to leave, so I could just say it and get it done, and not have to think about it. But it's the worst. But then when something new comes up and it's like, oh, and I have to leave a voicemail for this, and I don't know what to say, and there's a lot of uhs, and I'm calling from, and then this is why I'm calling, and then it's the worst. I hate leaving voicemails. I hate them.
I mean, like my friend and I, when we call each other, if he doesn't pick up, we will leave. I'm pretty sure a voicemail that I probably can't like even like
Like
say.
unhinged messages.
Yeah, and it's like really bad, and then he'll just call me back like, "Haha, that was so funny." And I'm like, "I know," but like it'll be like, "Yo, what are you doing that you're so busy you can't pick up the phone for me?"
Many things.
It's not good enough, especially when like if I just missed his call
Oh,
and I
hate
call back
that.
and he doesn't pick up. I'm like, "You just called me. How are you not answering the phone now? That doesn't make sense."
Sometimes I do that. I do that just to be annoying.
Yeah, you missed my call, so now I'm gonna
Yeah.
miss yours.
Wow, that is petty. My
I
God.
love it. I love it. And it's not good. No, I shouldn't.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, wait, so voicemails. They're not so bad. Actually, they're great. No, they're bad. I think they're not so bad.
They're not so bad.
Pineapple on pizza, disgust. I don't even need to linger. You're gonna agree. You like
No.
not agree. You're gonna think it's good. No, okay.
No, I don't think it's good. It's just like I would never get it as a like I'm like never. Oh, I'm craving pineapples on my pizza. But if it's there,
I feel like you can't do pineapple by itself on a pizza.
Like
There has to-
Hawaiian, like with
Right,
pineapple,
like there has to
barbecue,
be
and chicken and
something
stuff.
else on it, then it's not bad. But if you are the animal that eats just pineapple on the pizza,
yeah.
who hurt you? Like,
I think I don't know what it is. My parents used to do it, and I think we've shamed them because they no longer do it.
I mean,
But
we
I don't.
like we've done like pineapple and chicken a lot, and I feel like that was
Mhm.
because someone else started that. Like, and we just kind of started doing that. But I don't know.
I
It's
don't
just not.
know.
It's
What
not
clicks
it.
in your brain say, hey, I want this sweet fruit on my savory dish? You're not even supposed to be talking at all.
Without context, you know how mean that's gonna be. You're just like telling me you're not supposed to be talking.
My friend behind the camera has lost her voice and yet
Oh, I'm editing all
continues
of
to
this out. I'm
speak.
just gonna leave it
Okay.
in that you're super mean.
That's not nice at all. It's coming from a place of love. Yes, I'm trying to help you. All of this because of pineapple on pizza. Do you see what it causes? Using the word literally for emphasis. I think I only really use it when I'm in like satire. It's not actually a part of my like vocabulary, but if I'm like making fun of my friend, I'd be like, yeah, literally, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I agree.
But it doesn't fit into any of these categories of it's
I
not
like
so
how
bad,
they
it's fun and
changed it
useful slang.
from actually it's great to it's fun and
Useful
useful slang.
slang.
It's not like if it's one thing if they just said fun.
Mhm. But fun and useful.
When is it useful? It's fun. I don't know if it's useful.
Like literally all the time.
We should just like say that during that episode.
Ah! That's why they caught my hair when I pulled back because it fell in between the crevice. I'm gonna say it's fun and useful slang.
I'm gonna say it's not so bad.
I said it's bad.
Nickelback.
They're great.
I've never.
Who's that again? Right?
No, I'm like mad you don't know who they are.
I mean, I know of them.
Like,
I
give
just
me a
don't know if
song.
I listen to any of their music.
I don't know if I can play any of their songs
Like, sing me a little.
to play anything. Oh,
Are you
I know.
connected to something? I know the song that was like a clip of it went viral.
Probably.
Photograph or something like that.
That's
that
not this
Nickelback?
one.
But that's them.
Yeah, photograph.
What's photograph?
Look at this photograph.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay, I got it.
Yeah, I feel like growing up, everyone just said they were bad, so I didn't even try.
I don't know why that started because I feel like that started with like when I was like in high school,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know why,
Oh,
but everyone was listening to them. Like they were on the radio.
yeah.
They were more popular when I was in high school. 'Cause I don't think they've released anything new, but it's like everyone just hates on them, but they're great. Sing all their songs.
But yeah, you wouldn't just know. Anyway, candy corn. I think it's
Oh my god, it's the best thing ever.
It's like I don't know.
Can't explain my love for candy corn.
Are you being serious right
No,
now?
I'm
No, she
so
is.
serious. I like them.
I think I will only eat candy corn during spoopy season. And for that reason alone, I can put up with it. But now they have like seasonal ones. I think I saw them at like another time of the year. I think it was like a heart or something. I don't know.
Oh,
I don't
no.
remember what it was. But they had different shapes.
They're only good during Halloween.
They're never good at any time of the year.
They're nostalgic.
Yeah, they are.
I didn't like them
For
as a
me.
kid either.
Well, for me, nostalgia is a very case by case thing.
Yeah, but like it's nostalgic, but because you're saying because it tasted good.
No, it just brings back memories of childhood.
Yeah,
Of
like
experiences I've had as a child during
Yeah.
spoopy season.
I
when we would
wouldn't
have
want
candy
memories
corn.
linked
I remember
to.
I used to go to the deli and they would be like in a little pack.
You remember?
packet,
I
and I'll
remember we
just-
were in church and they
Oh
were
my
giving out like candy and stuff after children's church. You
That was
know?
probably so that you wouldn't celebrate Halloween because we're at church and we don't celebrate Halloween. That was a
Yeah.
good joke, guys. That was a good joke. All right.
If you're the only one that says it, I don't think so.
Like,
Saying the word
literally,
like
it
a
was
lot.
a good joke.
Saying the word like a lot. It's not so bad. It's actually a helpful way to communicate certain things. No,
Yes.
it's bad.
It is an helpful way I say it.
But if you say it a lot, I have noticed that I say it a lot, so I've been trying to. I was about to say it again. I've been trying to cut it down, but it's
That's
not
the
so
thing.
bad.
I say it a lot, so I feel like I have to do it a helpful way to
Yeah,
communicate.
right. I've been really trying to cut down though. I have, because someone told me it was like, when I was younger. What did they say? Something about like it was. Oh my gosh, I did it again. Like it's a nervous tick, or like if you say it a lot, then you're looking for things to say. It's kind of like a space
filler
saver.
word.
Yeah, a filler word. You're like, if you say it too many times, people are gonna think you're dumb. Not in those words. They didn't say it in those words, but that was kind of the message I got from it. So what I'm gathering from this is a lot of these things that they're saying people hate, no one really hates. And I would just like to ask BuzzFeed, who does your intel?
The only thing, I mean, I was expecting Nickelback to pop up, so I
Yeah.
feel like they're like a popular thing to hate.
Hmm.
And Candy Corn,
Yeah.
right? But I feel like hating on Candy Corn is extremely valid. Extremely valid to dislike and hate Candy Corn.
They are
There's a lot of
so
malice in
good.
that.
Like I feel like raisins should have been in there.
I love
Oh,
raisins.
I really thought you were gonna say you like mix raisins with candy corn, and I was
Ew.
gonna lose it.
Gross.
No. Oh, but what is the end? Like I don't even remember.
There's no purpose. They're just trying to get intel. I really thought it was gonna be like, wow, you're a really good person. You know what I mean? At least a little
What was?
validation or something. There was no point to that quiz
Oh,
at
that
all.
was
Yeah.
the other one, I think. With the personality test.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I guess we should have done that one then.
Yeah.
Whatever. There was no purpose to that quiz.
Just to understand how much we
People
dislike.
don't hate the things that they think we hate.
I guess so.
So what are we talking about tonight? Let's just get into it.
You sound like me after eating those jelly beans, just sighing. It's like angry at the world.
You were sighing before we even started. I showed the bag.
Rightfully so.
I showed the bag to the camera and I heard.
And look
It
at
was
how
like it was
bad they
right in
were.
my ear.
Jelly beans are worse than candy corn.
I think it depends. My coworker had some pear flavored jelly beans from Jelly Belly. I love pears. Those were so good.
Can we go back to the fact that you said candy corn is better than jelly beans?
Jelly beans can get stuck in your teeth sometimes.
I don't like the texture of them.
Not really. Candy
No,
corn
they
doesn't.
don't. They're simple, they're easy to eat, and they're good. You take a color at a color at a color.
What is going on here? No, candy corn is not good
For you!
for the majority of people on the face of the earth.
That you know.
No. Just no, it's not good. Stop it, Asha.
I'm gonna bring in a bag. in.
That'll
Do
be the
not.
next. After we
not.
do the spicy jelly beans, we're gonna do candy corn taste.
No, do not do that to us, please.
Anyways, last week we talked about why do bad things happen,
Mm-hmm.
and this week we're talking about how can I know God's will. So the question I'm starting off with is there any decisions you make that really stress you out?
All of them. Any decision stresses me out. That's why I make Kevin pick my drinks. No, but a lot of I'm an overthinker, so a lot of decisions will stress me out. Like even if it's minor things. Like at work the other day, we were talking about what to get for lunch. Mind you, this was like 9:30 in the morning. We were trying to figure out what to get for lunch, and I was overthinking and stressing myself out because I didn't want to delay my decision too long and then it'd be too late to come for lunch. So all decisions stress me out.
It's very valid. I also agree. I'm an overthinker also.
Yeah.
Like I overthink things, but not at that level. I feel
Mm.
like I would just like pick something and like it's whatever. but it has to be like a bigger thing.
There are varying levels of stress
Mhm.
though. So like that's like a minor level of like, oh, I'm just gonna be hungry if I don't make a decision on time. But there are like higher levels of stress where it's like this is a life altering decision that I need to make. Those are further like fewer and far in between.
I wasn't even going like that far with it. I was just saying like going on like vacation somewhere. Like where do you go? Like I'll overthink that.
Oh.
Or like once I'm there, like where do we go to eat? Because we only were here for so long.
See, I'm the level of overthinker where I have all the menus already in my phone by the time we leave. Like I'm
See, I don't have the energy to do that. I'm
see
like
no.
I see. I overthink to that level. I just don't have the energy to match my overthinking. So that doesn't happen.
Like I literally when we went to Florida in January, I had a list with every single item that I needed to pack, even like the nonsensical things that I knew I was gonna pack, like my toothbrush and like socks. And I printed it at work, and my coworker was like, "Who is making this list?" I was like,
You should have been like, it's a BuzzFeed list.
I'm like,
It's a
this is
personality
my packing
quiz.
list. And she's like, you needed to put like underwear on your list? I was like, yes, because I needed to check it off. She was like, why did you put your toothbrush there? Because I needed to check it off.
All right.
I'm just thinking of all the times that I've actually forgot to bring stuff on trips. Because I did do the list thing at one point, but then trying to create a list became too much work for me, and I just stopped making lists. Like that's just what happened. But yeah,
So, do we all know the story of Joseph?
Which Joseph?
What do you mean?
what?
What do you mean?
I mean, which is Joseph? Joseph in the coat, Mary and Joseph.
Oh,
I feel like you caught her so off guard.
Yeah,
Like,
I
wait,
was like-
there's more than one Joseph in the Bible.
I'm
What?
trying to be like, wait, what? We're cutting this out, right?
No, we're leaving it in.
Okay. Anyway, sorry. About okay, specifically about him being sold into slavery and stuff like that. So how do you think you guys would have reacted in that situation of what he
See,
like? Do you think that you would have made the same decisions that he did, or have the same mindset?
Do you mean just from the sold and slave, or like his whole life
Just his whole
prior to the good things that happen at the end?
Oh, I guess.
Okay, so then let's just, in case someone doesn't know the story,
recap it for
he's
us.
sold into slavery by his brothers. Then, as a slave, he's falsely accused and then imprisoned for.
Rape.
Yeah, I was trying to think if we could say it or not. 'Cause I feel like it's like you have to put like a trigger warning now
Oh,
because
essay.
you said that word. And then eventually he's basically in prison. I want to say for like a decade.
Mhm.
He's in prison for a long period of time.
Yeah.
Then eventually he ends up becoming second in charge of like Egypt. But yeah, a lot of bad things happen to him before he gets into the palace and all of that. Okay. What was your question again?
So, how do you think you would have responded to the unfair situation that he found himself in?
I think he took a lot of things in stride, whereas I don't like to just take things as they happen to me. Like even though I know that there's a greater purpose and a plan, I like to push back.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if he had pushed back and if he had fought back against like what they were saying about him and what they were putting him through, his situation could have ended up of like a whole lot differently.
I like the fact that when we go to answer the question, we both look at each other, see who's gonna answer first.
I didn't want to like cut you off or be cut off.
Whereas when it's Asha, she's like staring off into the distance.
This is not a roasting session.
I'm not trying. I'm just saying, like, jeez. But yes. I mean, I just think I would have been like so pissed
Yeah.
of like what's going on, um, especially with like the sold into slavery by your brothers.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, like one of the brothers, I remember said like, "Hey, just like hold tight, like I'm gonna come get you later."
Mhm.
And by the time he comes back, like you're sold into slavery. So it's like, I can just imagine being there, like, "Yo, did he just like lie to me? Like, what just happened?" Now all of a sudden you're. It doesn't even say how long it takes him to get to Egypt, but now he's in Egypt. He's sold into this other guy's. He's just sold like property, and he's working for this other guy now, Potiphar, and go ahead.
And he was like really young. He was like 15, 16
Yeah.
when this happened, right?
Yeah.
So like I'm 24 right now. And I would like I couldn't even fathom how I would react in that situation of being sold into slavery and then ending up in a different nation where like first of all things are very different. Second of all, like religion plays a big role in how people are treated and all of these different situations.
Yeah. And then on top of that, I think what would really suck would be, I've always felt like Joseph kind of just like accepted this is his life now as
Yeah.
a slave, and he becomes like the best slave for Potiphar to the point where he's like in charge of like the guy's entire household.
Mhm.
And it's like, to me, when I look at it, it's like he's just accepted it. He's like, okay, this is my life now. I'm gonna make things happen. I'm here doing, I'm doing my thing. And then he gets basically accused of like rape, and like, I like, if it was me, I would just be like, for real though, like that, like this is what. And it doesn't even say there's a trial or anything like
Yeah.
that. It just says he goes to jail,
Mhm.
right? Which makes like he didn't even have a chance to like defend himself
yeah.
or anything when he did, like, and it's such a weird thing because, like, I mean, I watched so much like Law and Order, like, and I'm just thinking like he did everything he could have, literally to the point of, I'm gonna run away from this lady who I guess technically he worked, like, I'm gonna run away to make sure I don't do anything or anything happens or she doesn't do anything to me, and he still goes to jail for like a decade. Like, that's crazy.
That's what I'm saying. He took a lot of things in stride. Like eventually I feel like I would have to come to terms with it just because that's your situation, that's your circumstance. But it would have taken me a little while to get there. He got off the boat and he was like, "All right, I'm going to be a good slave." And then he just worked his way up.
Yeah, literally, I feel like I would like to think that I would, eventually get to where he was.
Yeah.
But I think the whole being sold into slavery by your siblings.
Don't sit right with
that
me.
would take me. I don't even know how to process that.
I feel like your first Halloween without candy corn would break you.
Did you see the intensity of that eye roll? Did you pick that up?
He's been trying to come for me all.
No, it was right there. I couldn't not say
I
it.
don't think it would break you. I think you're stronger than that.
Thank you. And since we're talking about mental health, I feel like a coping mechanism
Mhm.
sometimes is like when you're going through like tough situations. Like for me, if I'm like, I'm always like, okay, well, what can I possibly do? Like I'm in it now.
Mhm.
Like how can I make this better for myself? And I feel like that's probably what he did. He was probably like, I'm here. Like
Yeah.
you can make the best of it. It's all about perspective. And he really did it.
He did the thing. I feel like a lot of times when bad things happen and we get trapped up in it, it's easy to fall into that pit of despair and to just like let yourself wallow in your own pity. But it's easier. It's definitely easier said than done. But you have to kind of remind yourself to reframe your thoughts, to reframe your perspective. Because just like we talked about in the last episode, and we talked about in episodes before, like with Paul, right? Was Paul? Peter. Paul. Paul. It was Paul. It was Paul.
You are asking the wrong person to try and remember something, and you know that.
I know. That's why I kept going. That's why I kept going.
That did not help at all.
It was Paul. It was Paul. I caught it. But just like we were talking about before, you have to kind of reframe your perspective into more of like the end game. Why am I doing what I'm doing? Why am I making myself push through these battles? What is the purpose of it? Because I know even for myself, like when bad things happen, I let myself sit in it because I feel like I did this to myself, so I need to feel the brunt of the pain, right? And that can get pretty dark, but you have to remember, hey, why? What led me to make this decision? Why am I here? What am I here for? Like, am I supposed to be learning from this? Did I do this to myself? Am I like supposed to grow? And then it's kind of that perspective like that Joseph had where he's like, all right, I'm here, so I'm going to make the best of it. I'm here and I know that God has a plan for me. I just need to do what I can do to further his plan. It's not about what I think I want, but it's kind of about why did you put me in this, why did you move me from that place to this place at this point?
I feel like that's really, really easy to say
Yeah.
when you're not a slave in a foreign land being chased by the Pharaoh's captain for raping his wife.
I was talking about the circumstances before the rape happened.
No, but I mean,
Yeah. But also if that happened and I could not defend myself, are you kidding me? Like I get it. That's your wife, you know what I mean? But I'm your right-hand guy? And you're just going to throw me into the pits?
I think that's what makes it worse.
I know.
No, I think for like on Potiphar's thing, like you're my right hand guy. How you gonna do this?
Yeah, but like you're not even gonna. Well, we don't know if he had that conversation with him. It doesn't say. But I feel like the fact that it doesn't say means that it didn't have it.
I think it may not have mattered.
Yeah. That's true.
Whether or not that conversation happened, which might be why it's not included.
Mm-hmm.
But I was gonna say something before we went off on that tangent. I'm hoping it's gonna come back to me.
Easier said than done.
Only thing going through my mind right now is Peter, Paul, Peter, Paul, Peter.
That's like, you know, the sound clip where it's like, mommy. No, mommy.
That's all that's going through my head. I lost it. All right.
So Joseph, like after his imprisonment, he's like the ruler, not the ruler, but
He's
second in command.
He's directly under the Pharaoh.
Like the prime minister, maybe.
Sure.
I don't really know how that works.
In Egypt, and that there is a famine going on, and his like whole family goes to Egypt, and they don't even recognize him, but like he still helps them. Would you have reacted the same way?
Would I have still helped them?
Yeah.
I feel like, because they are my family, I feel like I would have want to, and especially after how long it's been, and the period of growth that he had, where he went from bottom tier slave to second in command to in jail and then back to second in command. I feel like there's a lot of growth personally that he would have had to go through. And at that point, it's more of like it's either you live or you die. Your fate is in my hands, and I would not have your life in my hand. Yeah. Like I would not be the person to cause you suffering, even though you caused me it.
So one of the interesting things about the story is Joseph never gets described as like a vindictive person, right? The only thing that he does that is somewhat like underhanded is when the brothers come, he devises this plan to find out if his youngest brother is still alive, or did they treat him the same way they treated
I forgot
him,
about that part.
right? So and it's this whole kind of elaborate thing in which he when they come, he has them stay for like a dinner, and I want to say he like he was like a crooked cop. Like he planted evidence on them, and it's like, yo, you guys stole from me. And they're like, no, we didn't. And they're like, well, check their bags, and it's like, oh, hey, look, all his like silverware is
Yeah.
there or something. And then he like holds one of his brothers in jail while the rest go. So like,
But I feel like that wasn't necessarily vindictive
no,
in
that's what I'm
that.
saying. It wasn't even vindictive. It was just more him like he somehow had the wherewithal to be like, hey, I should probably make sure my brother, like my youngest brother, is still alive,
Hmm.
right? Which was always an interesting thing in the story. Just that he, after all that time, he was like, yeah, I could probably just send them back with no food, or I could send food back to my father and just throw all of them in jail right now. Because I also wonder what happens when Potiphar had to go to him for food.
Yeah.
Like Potiphar and his wife have to go to him for food, and he's just like looking at them like, "Remember me?" Like it's a really crazy thing. Um, but I think I remember what I was gonna say originally, which was one of the interesting things with Joseph is that he knew God's like will for him
Hmm.
and became very focused on God. So when all these things happen, he he's grounded in the fact that okay, God has a plan for me. I may not understand why all of this is happening to me, but if I somehow stay focused on him despite my current situation, maybe something will happen. And it's weird because nothing indicates that he knew that would happen. Right? And like for us now, we have the example of Joseph. He didn't have any example that
Hmm.
if I just blindly trust God, he's going to see me through, which is a crazy thing to think about. Because for us, we'll always have the examples from the Bible. He just had nothing. He's just like, all right, I just got to trust God.
I feel like that's kind of what makes those biblical figures even more powerful because, yeah, we can turn back to look on them, but they're not referencing anyone. Like, they're purely acting on their faith. Like, there's no example to say, yeah, I listened to God and what he did and that he brought me through it. They had to actually go through it and they had to, like, someone had to record their lifetimes and their stories for us to be able to go through it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and last episode we talked a lot about like why bad things happen, and I also feel like Joseph went through what he went through so we could have that example. Like his purpose was so much greater than he even understood in that moment, and he had to make like so many decisions to follow God in that moment that led him to like, I mean, good or bad things, he
Hmm.
still obeyed.
And what I would, I mean, the original question for tonight is how can I know God's will,
Hmm.
right? And I think we sometimes overcomplicate that.
Yeah.
We think that God's will for our life is like a big mystery, right? And or I'll speak from experience, right? It's always been like it's this big mystery that there's gonna be like a grand reveal and things like that, where Joseph gets God's will for his life in the form of two dreams, right? Which were somewhat vague, and I think when you look at the scope of his where God takes him, where it really understated what God was going to do with his life because his dream was only about
His brothers.
his brothers and his father,
Mm.
right? The first dream was just his brother. I think the second dream was his brothers and his father all bowing down to him, right? Showing that he would be of a greater stature or status in them. From that dream, no one would have thought he would have been second to the pharaoh and have so much control over like the known world at that time because everyone's coming to Egypt for food. But he had an idea, And it was on him to trust that like revelation. And I think for a lot of us, we think that God's will for us is some deep hidden secret that God is like just waiting, like not it's he's not even waiting. He's like, you have to figure out, like you have to like crack the safe to get it. And I think the whole one of the big points of the story of Joseph is that it's not a big secret what God's will for your life is if you're looking for it,
Yep.
right? I think the harder thing to do is when things happen in your life, I think whether good or bad, that don't seem to line up with what God has told you he wants to do. It's how do you hold on to his will when these things are happening? And I think that's what we learn from Joseph, because I mean, probably like the worst case scenario of things to happen.
Hmm.
Because Joseph is holding on to God's will for his life when he's not even with his brothers anymore, right? So how would he be of higher? And every time he gets further away from his brothers until he's in the palace, he's not just further away from them physically. I feel like he's further away from them in status. Because at first he was just their brother in a pit, then he's sold into slavery, right? Then he becomes a slave in Potiphar's house. Then he becomes a prisoner. It's like each step was just
Lower than the
lower,
previous.
right?
Hmm.
So it's like, how would they ever bow down to him? And then even in prison, the guys that get out of jail forget about him in there. I mean, one gets killed, but the other one doesn't and forgets about him for I think another few years or something. It's just every moment he seemingly got further from God's will, yet he was actually getting closer to it. And I think that's kind of when we talk about God's will, it's one, am I gonna seek it? Because he will tell me, right? Why would God create you to not tell you his will? It doesn't make sense.
Hmm.
But then are you gonna hold on to it until it comes to pass? That's my 2 cents.
It seems a little more than just two, but
All right, that's my quarter.
thank you. And I
Half
think
dollar.
that's also like, it also goes back to when we were talking about your perspective, right? Because if you're gonna hold firm onto this is God's purpose and His plan for me, you're gonna look past this situation of I'm constantly getting lower and lower and lower, and then it's kind of like, yeah, I'm falling in worldly stature, but he always was a man of character, but now he kind of proved himself to the world around him in the ways that God was using him.
I also think like what you're saying there, he had such an important position in the world at that time
Hmm.
that if a man of character did not have that job,
Ooh,
people would have died,
yeah, it could have gone awry.
right? Because, and for those that don't know the story, right, there is this great famine in essentially the world at that point. And before that, because Joseph was in charge of things, he told the Pharaoh to store all of this food that would last through the famine to the point where his brothers come from Canaan, I guess, um, to Egypt to get food because Egypt's the only place with food. And I'm just thinking of like if that was like politicians today,
Hmm.
right? You would like when the famine was done. I mean, we saw it with like COVID, right? Like
Hmm.
when things were done, all of a sudden, oh well, this person was doing this, and this person was hoarding supplies. This person was
Or
misusing
like price
funds.
gouging,
Right?
stuff like
They
that.
were raising prices on this. They were doing like you'll find out all this like shady things happen. And I think for some of us, we focus more so on the fact that like Joseph meets back his brothers, or they have that like reunion, and it's like, well, he had the character to not like just kill them. I think Joseph had the character to save the world,
Yeah.
which is bigger than his brothers, and I think that's what's really amazing about the story.
Period.
Yeah, like literally. So
I think that's a good place to end this conversation. Be a person of character. Try to positively reframe your thoughts. I know it can be hard a lot of times. But why are you laughing so much? I'm having a serious sentimental moment.
I was trying to hold it back. I really was.
Anyways, you can put it back to me. Thank you. I know it can be hard sometimes, but like we said in the last episode, try to seek God first. And if you need someone to talk to, you can oh shoot, I got rid of the number. You can give us a call. You can go on the website. There are many ways to contact us. And if there's anyone that you know that is, I don't want to say more qualified, but someone
Is a
within the church,
mature
a mature
Christian.
Christian that you know will be able to guide you and not just like a yes man, because those can be a little dangerous sometimes. Reach out to them. Oh, I should probably get the number again, right?
As she tries to get the number,
It is
go for it.
718-849-5277. That is the number for the church.
Yeah, and if you don't know God's will for your life, it really is as simple as asking God to tell you what why He created you. It's that simple. He's not. I guarantee you, He's not trying to hide it from you. It's not as big a secret as you think. He may not give you as many details as you like, and that's a different story. You can take that up with Him. But
Who else would they take it up with?
I don't know, right? But I do know He wants to tell you what His will is. You just have to ask. And once He tells you, you got to hold on to it. Because things will distract you from it.
Mm-hmm.
But stay focused on Him. Stay focused on what He's told you. Stay focused on the revelation He's given you, and watch Him make it come to pass. There we go. So we'll be back here again next week. With phone chargers. And
It's not going to make sense to them.
it makes sense to me. Right?
A lot of things do.
Was that an insult?
No, not at all. Not at all. Anyways, good night. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Stay tuned for next week. Is that your I don't know why I thought your cup was much. Never mind. Have a good night, or morning, or day. God loves you.
Peace out, guys.